What's up, geeks, gamers, and capsuleers? My name is Draymond, and welcome to Thorium Gaming, and we're back with another Eve Basics video. I don't know if that's what I'm going to call the series, but we might as well go with the title for now. This one's going to be on probe scanning and combat probe scanning. It's a great way to make ISK, and it's a great way to have some fun, and I will talk about the ways to do that as we go through the video. Before we do anything else, though, let's look at the skills we're going to need for the probe scanning. This applies to both. So you've got astrometrics, astrometric pinpointing, acquisition, and range finding. These are going to be the core skills that you're going to need to train up. I would suggest at least level 3, which is where I'm at. I do not have perfect skills. Any higher is always better, and you're going to combine this with a very good ship. I'm in my Astero again, which is designed to scan things down, so I have advantages, and I will actually go into the fit of this Astero. It's very, very good for doing exploration. It's not a combat ship. It's not a very good ship for deep space exploration. I would prefer to do that in a Stratios, but we'll get into that in a minute. You're also going to want to pick up hacking and archaeology, possibly survey. But hacking and archaeology allow you to use your data and relic analyzers with more efficiency, virus coherency, and virus strength. Those are basically your attack and your health within the hacking minigame, and depending on what the signatures are in a train here, I might actually do a quick walkthrough of that while we're doing it. So your scanning skills, that's what you need to pick up, and you need to train them. So let's look at the fit that I'm running right now on my Astero. It's not exactly the greatest in the world, but it's a quick ship that can do both data and relic sites, and it's fairly stable as far as things go. So I've got a low friction nozzle, which increases my align time, or decreases, sorry, an EM screen reinforcer, a thermal screen reinforcer, which you can see on my stats over here. I have a Sisters Core Probe Launcher and Sisters Core Probe Scanners. I would highly recommend, if you're going to invest any money, even on a Tech 1 frigate or anything like that, and you really want to make exploration and scanning for data and relic sites a career, the Sisters Core Probe Launcher and the Sisters Core Scanner Probes and their combat variants are worth the investment. They have better strength, and they are far more convenient, and they take up less CPU and power grid on your ship. I do have a Covops Cloak, because, well, being cloaky is good. Of course, got data and relic analyzer. I have a micro warp drive just to help me get to different cans within sites faster. Small shield extender. That could be improved, of course. Where this gets a little tricky is what I've got in my lows. I've got a damage control 2. Again, resistances across the board. And I've got 2 nanofiber internal structures. This makes my align time incredibly quick. So if I'm jumping gate to gate, if I'm doing anything like that, this ship is incredibly fast. And when we warp off to a site, because regardless of what we find, I'm going to warp to one of these sites, I hope, as long as they're not combat sites, because this Astero won't hold up. You align and warp really quick. This is also a great setup to use if you're going to be using a small frigate for transport duties. I also have a warp core stab, because most of the hunters that I've found that try and take on my Astero only have a long point. So this still allows me to get out of dodge and get away. So to begin scanning, what we got to do is first launch a flight of probes. They should appear around my ship momentarily. There we go. See the little probes all around me. Tiny little crosses. And then we got to open our probe scanner window. Alright, so here's the basics of this window. Let's expand the size of this. You can scan out to 32 astronomical units with the scanner probes. They do decay over time, and make sure you always recover your probes before you go anywhere else. This little box in the center here is how we control where the sensor cluster is. There are different formations. I prefer pinpoint. It makes life easy, and even with base level skills, you should be able to find most sites in high security space and most in low security space. You'll have some trouble with the sleeper sites, but unless you're prepared for sleeper sites, you don't want to do them anyway. So how do we work this? Well, we've got 2 anomalies here. We're going to try and scan one down. I was below the plane, not above it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this box, click and drag. we're going to move it over top of the center of this signature. Now, the sphere you see around the center here is the radius approximately where that signature is. So let's decrease the size down to 16 at least. That should work. I always start a little bit larger and work in, and we'll hit Analyze. The probes will warp off to their designated spots. Each one of these spheres right here is actually centered on a probe. Alright, so we got a signal lock on it. It's only 13.3% strength. So we're going to readjust and shrink down the size of our scan probes. Now, it can get a little confusing. Left clicking in here will move the solar system around, but if you want to move where your camera is centered, right click and drag, and it will move it that way. Of course, you can still scroll in and out with your scroll wheel. Makes it really easy. You can do scanning on one hand. Let's analyze again. We'll see how that works out. So our probes will warp, and they will scan in. Alright, so we've got 21% strength now. And essentially this is the pattern we are going to repeat during the entire process. Readjust the center of the scan array. Can slowly decrease the size. And keep moving in and around this entire section. I have pretty decent skills, so we'll see what it is. Okay, so this is a wormhole, and we are going to warp to it. I'll have to do a data site video or a relic site video at another time, because, well, there's a lot more to go on in this video. We still have combat probes to go. Let's shrink it down even more, and we'll scan it in. Alright, so we have scanned it down. Let's recover our probes, and let's warp to it.
Warp drive active.
And you'll notice how quickly this Astero with this fit gets into warp. It was just that fast. Let's reload our probe launcher while we're at it. And this is pretty much it. You've scanned down a wormhole successfully. So this is a K162 wormhole, which means it's an exit wormhole. And we don't know where that's going to go. We're not going to jump through this one this time, because I'm not really prepared to go wormhole diving. But a small note, whenever you go through a wormhole, make sure you bookmark both sides of it. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. So if you can just give me a minute here, guys, I will switch over to a combat vessel, and we're going to go hunt down one of our friends. So I will return very shortly. Alright, so now we're back, and I'm in a combat ship. My stealth cloaky Proteus. Yes, I know the fit is probably terrible, and I'm going to get flamed for it either way, but we're going to go in. I'm going to show you the difference here. So we've got a Sister's expanded expanded launcher and combat probes. So you need combat probes to scan down mobile tractor units, mobile depots, anything deployable really, hostile or friendly ships, drones, etc. Now where this comes into play for newer players if you're wanting to go to it, and again I do recommend the Sisters launcher and probes because they're sisters. When you're scanning for drones or ships or anything like that, if you go to one of the major combat site hubs around the Sisters of Eve station or around Dodixie, anywhere where there's level 4 mission runners, you can actually hunt down drones, and they're abandoned. They're lost in space. So you can just collect them and take them back to a trade hub and sell them. This is a good way for younger capsuleers to make a lot of money. It makes it really, really easy on you to make money, and it's a lot of fun. I personally enjoy probe scanning. So let's do what we did before. We'll launch our combat probes, and we will open our probe scanner. So you're going to get the same interface. The difference is going to be we are going to get combat signatures for this. We don't want, well, we're going to have to change the filter. I guess I should say that first. So let's take cosmic signatures off. Let's put ships on. you can also put drones and charges on. These are probably what you're going to want to scan for. But I know there's a ship out there. We don't really need to scan for drones right now. Let's scan the system at maximum range. With combat probes, I do suggest a maximum range scan. This will give you all of the signatures of ships in the system, and you can narrow them down. We have a ship in space. So just like when we were using our core scanner to scan down the anomaly, we're going to incrementally decrease it. But since it's a ship, pretty sure it's at a belt or something similar. So let's scan down a little bit more. Takes a little while for the combat probes to warp, but they'll warp in and we'll be able to do this fairly effectively. Okay, so now we have a little bit of motion on it. This is where your pinpointing and your acquisition come in. Each one will reduce the distance that the target is off every time you scan. Alright, so it's a mining barge. So let's just readjust a little bit. Keep going in. Still left click to turn the system. Left click and hold to move that. And right click to center your camera. Let's drop the AU down a little bit. You do have to be wary. If other people are scanning and everything, this can scare off targets if you're hunting them this way. So with the D-scan video I put out earlier, you can use a combination of directional scan and probe scanning, and it makes hunting people down a lot easier, a lot more efficient. But it's the same process whether you're doing core probes for anomalies and cosmic signatures, or if you're scanning down ships. And again, if you want to do the drone collecting thing, it's a good way to make profit. Alright, so we have scanned him down. Let's return these. And let's warp to that target.
Active.
Might as well reload and throw our covert ops cloaking device on. Of course, I would be already cloaked if I was hunting in low security space, nullsec, or in faction warfare space in general. Because you don't want to show that something is going on. And it's our good buddy Dyvim1Tvar again. So let's see if we can give him a little bit of a scare. Decloaked. And we'll orbit him. We've been tracking him down a lot in these videos. He's been a good sport about it. He's actually really, really fun to hang out with. And if you want to join us in a treen, of course, come on down. Get to hang out with guys like Di, who are incredibly good people. But now if he was a target, I wouldn't have warped at 0, I would have warped at a slightly larger range, which you can do via your probe menu. And that's it. You've successfully scanned down a ship. You can do the same thing for all of the drones, you can do it for mobile tractor units. This is a good way to recover an MTU if you forget one in a site, or if you forget your drones and the site is gone. You can scan down your own stuff and recover it, or you can scan down stuff that's been abandoned by other players and recover it. If you're in low security space, wormhole space, or in nullsec, you can actually scan down things to hunt and fight. It's a lot of fun, and a good way to make some profit. So with that said, guys, that's gonna do it for this basic video on probe scanning and combat scanning. I'll probably do a more advanced one later to differentiate what different cosmic signatures and the circles, rings, and lines on the probe scanner mean. But this is the basics. This will allow you to get into scanning as a hobby, or maybe even as a profession. So if you like the video, guys, please consider hitting that like button. If you'd like to join up with the 232, or become part of the Atrene project if you play EVE, just hit the subscribe button. Make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss when a new video goes out. Come join us in Atrene and have some fun. And remember, guys, life is a game, so play to win. And until next time, take care.